Hey everybody, welcome to your Playhouse Live weekly recap of all the gaming news for this week, the week of, what's today, January 24th, 2021.
Yeah, the 24th.
Yeah. We are fresh off of the fantasy game draft from last night. If you haven't checked that out yet, go to our YouTube channel or the Twitch archive that is now highlighted. You can watch everything that happened there. I won't spoil anything, but damn, there was some intrigue, there was some spice. It carried on.
Played.
It got carried on after the recording because there was the pickups. We weren't able to. Oh God, we should have came. If only I had known, but we should have went live again at the moment the bids dropped.
Yeah,
that
just
would have
jump
been,
back on and be like, start asking what in the hell that we did.
Mm-hmm.
Tim, oh my God, he played us hard.
I
can't believe he did that.
An absolute betrayal. Absolute betrayal.
I was like getting stabbed in the back and then twisting the knife multiple times. I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
He plays dirty. I dig it. But now next year I'm ready for it.
And so today's show obviously happened on a Sunday. So yeah, Twitch viewers here used to us going live on a Saturday because we do this show live on our Twitch channel /PlayhouseLive. You're not watching like anything pre-recorded. This is just we had to delay things to today. It will be back on Saturday starting next week, hopefully. But we'll see about that one depending on what other streams we're planning to do then. But for today, we have to go through all of the gaming news of the week that was. But first, before we do that, we are of course tasked with creating the ultimate press conference, John and I. Competing press conferences, might I add. So the way this works is I will give John a number of hidden options, some different choose your own adventure style things to go through.
Yep. And
from there he will have to make his choices and they will have different consequences on announcements for his press conference. I get the ones that he doesn't choose, so I get the scraps. Today, John, the theme is studio acquisitions. You and I will be both announcing at our press conferences that we are acquiring a studio. So this is a big one. This is a great way to, you've got the opening reveal, the hype trailer. Now, you've got you in a suit coming out on stage and you're ready to make some, business moves. You're making moves. You've got the sunglasses on. You're ready to go.
We got to do big splashes. I get it. Let's do this. All right, I'm ready.
Big money place. All right, so today you'll be walking through a temple with 3 chambers. All right?
Okay.
Chamber number 1, you walk in, and there are 2 pedestals. On one pedestal is a sword with runes across the dagger, seemingly glowing.
All right.
On the other pedestal is a laser rifle.
Ooh. All right. I love a laser rifle. But you know what? I have to go with sword. I like the sword way too much with the runes. I think that is cool and aesthetically makes more sense to me. So I'm gonna go with the sword.
Real quick, are you generally a fantasy guy over a sci-fi guy, or is this just
no?
Okay, great.
No, I'm not. I lean more, I guess, because when I started reading The Witcher, I kind of lean a little more that way now.
Mm-hmm.
But I like them both. But if you said sword and laser gun, I probably would have went with the laser gun. But there's runes, though. That's what tipped the scale for me.
The runes are important. All right. That means, John, that you have acquired to your business. You've acquired Larian Studios, developers of the Divinity Original Sin series. Now you're working on Baldur's Gate 3. You got some 90+ Metacritic games there waiting to go.
That works for me.
That's a win. That's an absolute win.
That's a W.
As we know, it's all up in the air for now because now you have to choose your blessings and your curses, which could drastically alter the fate of things for you.
Okay.
So yeah, as always, we shall start with the blessing. You enter the second chamber of this temple. On one pedestal is a TV remote. On the other pedestal is an Xbox controller.
Okay, so I'm going to kind of hash this out in my head to see how close I am. I'm going to assume or take the idea that the TV remote has something to do with an app that is going to be installed on the TV that you can actually stream said games to.
Perhaps the pedestal will reveal all in time.
The pedestal will reveal. I'm guessing the Xbox app is saying, or the Xbox controller is saying, my company is only going to be releasing Xbox exclusive games.
Okay.
I'm gonna go with the Xbox controller. I think that makes more sense.
Okay. So this blessing was to determine, with your newly acquired studio, what game IP you will be able to get them to work on. As well as studio acquisition, you've also got an IP acquisition.
IP. Okay.
And so what did you choose again? I'm sorry.
No, the Xbox controller.
Okay.
I chose that.
And so that means Larian Studios will be working on their latest CRPG in the world of The Witcher.
Okay. All right.
That's a win.
That's a win.
Yeah.
I don't know if we want CDPR to be touching The Witcher anymore. Let's be honest.
Right.
So.
Get to carry on the Witcher universe, right? But like with Larian, you get to inhabit that world, but like not get the griminess of it. So that's like a double win.
Okay. All right. I'm liking this.
All right. So now, John, it is time for the curse. You enter the third chamber of this press conference temple.
Okay.
Imagine this temple, by the way, because it's like press conference themed. So like you have the heads across like lining the walls of the chamber. It's like Phil Spencer, Reggie Fils-Aimé, Sean Layden, and like they've got their mouths open and they shoot exclusives out of them whenever you step on the pressure plate.
So I'll add that in because I'm thinking like either Temple of Doom or I grew up watching Legends of the Hidden Temple on Nickelodeon, so that's kind of where I'm at. Like people are watching this happen live, and all of them are there just throwing stuff at me. So yeah, I'm on the same page.
Yeah, they can see what's under the pedestals. They know what you're choosing. That's like my perspective right now, which is great. So yeah, in this third and final chamber, you have again 2 pedestals, and atop them are 2 jars. The jar to your right is pristine gold shining jar, just beautiful ornate piece, like very clearly smelt it and crafted it nicely. It's got great designs on there. It's beautiful jar. Yeah. The other jar is very clearly an iron jar, just painted yellow, right? And it's got cracks on it, it's rusted in places, and it's got this like green moss coming out of it in places. You must drink from one of the jars.
I got to drink from one of them. Ooh. I don't know if you're trying to pull a double switch on me. That's what I'm trying to figure out right now, because I know this run a show, I know what we're talking about, and I love Indiana Jones. So it's kind of one of those, do I choose poorly or not? Go
with your heart. Go with what you would choose if faced with those 2 jars.
I would choose the painted yellow one. Honestly, I don't trust anything that's perfect like that.
Okay. All right. So you have chosen.
I feel like I messed you up. Like I thought it seems like I was supposed to pick the other one.
No, there's no mess up in this one. It's whatever you choose. All right. So you've chosen the jar of envy.
Okay.
CDPR went bankrupt and someone else picked up the Witcher license. So you no longer have access to that.
Oh, come on!
So you're now like in a panic. You're like, what does Larian Studios make now? And so the only IP you could get your hands on to make a CRPG in is the world of Sonic the Hedgehog. So I imagine
I can spin this.
Okay.
I can spin this.
I imagine this is like you again Sonic Forces style. You create your own little like weird furry nonsense, and like you just go around exploring like Green Hill Zone and stuff. You know what I mean?
I mean, how delightful would that be? Is that you get to create your own character, you get to like run around with Sonic, and just kind of get a feel for what Green Zone is. I think Larian would do a good job with that. I mean, you get to. It's all about putting you in the game. Choose your color of eyes. Make those eyes the same as yours. I got you, baby. We can make this work.
Such a slap in the face, though. Like, if Larian announced their next game was a Sonic game, I'd quit. I'd quit Playhouse.
I think we all would, actually.
Just such a... From Baldur's Gate 3 to Sonic. Only if they went with, like, the Baldur's Gate 3 tone, where there's something wrong and everyone's diseased and poor in this, like, Sonic world.
Let's be honest, though. It's not out of the realm of Sonic to do that.
Yeah. All right.
I mean, it would work, possibly.
Yeah. All right. A Sonic CRPG, my God. And it's co-op as well, so you could, like, see other people's, like, freakazoids running around with you.
That would be great. All about the community.
Yeah. All right. So, meanwhile, across the street in the other conference hall, I have announced that I have purchased Bungie, right?
Okay.
Big $1 billion acquisition. Activision let him go. Microsoft tried to get him, but guess what? Finn got him. All right.
Okay. All right.
I will have them then work on a FPS RPG game set in the... This is the blessing of Picard, by the way. Your blessing was the blessing of Dandelion. So I get to make an FPS RPG game based in the world of Star Trek.
Okay, I'm actually a little jealous of that one right now.
However, my curse, I have chosen the pristine gold jar, the Jar of Avarice.
Okay.
Before the acquisition was closed on Bungie, Tencent swooped in there and they got them first. So I left it too long. They picked up Bungie, and so like I have this Star Trek license. I have to get someone to do it, and the only studio that's affordable to me right now because their stock price has plummeted is CDPR.
Oh no! I mean, from the first week that we did this, I think we're sitting pretty good. Now,
So
we might be having crap thrown at us.
So like, in my head canon now, so like, I'm the one who, like, CDPR went bust. I purchased them along with the Witcher license, but I can't use it because I still have to use this dumb Star Trek license.
Yes.
Meanwhile, you can't make your Witcher game and I have to make a Sonic the Hedgehog game.
I'm good. Look, we are making beautiful narrative stories together.
Yeah.
And someone needs to pick this up. Let's do this.
I across, like, in my, like, conference, I'm taking shots at you. It's like, they were going to make a Witcher game, but not anymore. You want Witcher games, you have to come to us. But first, for real, though, like Star Trek. Like,
I hope you like Star Trek.
Yeah.
We're going to do this. And here I am. You know what? Furry community, come to me. I've got you. I will be your side. I will be behind you. I will champion you so you can have a great Sonic game, whether it is with Sonic or you put your own character in there.
people from your press conference like stand up and leave, and then the other, like in my press conference, other people stand up and leave because they hear about the Sonic game, and we just like swap audiences.
Let's swap, and we're like, what is happening right now?
Crazy.
So before we go, I need to know how far ahead have you actually planned this? Like, do you have next week's?
How far ahead do you think I've planned it?
Knowing you as I do, I'm assuming you've got at least 2 months of this down.
I've got the basic template in my head.
Okay.
It's hard for me to not make this like a choose your own adventure game, like totally, where it's like got 16 branching paths each week, right? It's really hard for me to not do that. I have to like keep it in check.
I can see you just be like, I got this. Crap, no. Can I move that to next week?
Yeah.
Should I do 12? Yeah, I fully believe that's what you're doing, and I freaking love it.
Yeah, because sometimes, like, because the choices, the blessings and curses build on each other, but sometimes if you choose, like, the thing I don't expect you to choose, it doesn't make sense. The streams cross, and, like, they're not legible. And it's like...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and again, you get the situation where you're making a Larian Studio Sonic game. Like, damn it. All right.
He did it.
Now on to the news of this week. The top story blowing up everyone's Twitter feeds right now, today, and over the past week. Xbox Live attempts to double the price of Xbox Live Gold and then doesn't. This comes from their official blog post. We'll read through what they initially tried first. They said, periodically, we assess the value and pricing of our services to reflect changes in regional marketplaces and to continue to invest in the Xbox community. We'll be making price adjustments for Xbox Live Gold in select markets. The price of a 1 month gold membership is increasing $1, 3 month $5, or the equivalent amount in your local market. Going forward, the new pricing will be 1 month $10.99, 3 months $29.99, 6 months $59.99, which, if you remember, was previously and is also now currently 12 months.
The price.
Yeah.
Yep.
For a full year. They're having it 6 months. Very slightly put in there, just like, hey, if you want to upgrade to Xbox Live or Xbox Game Pass Ultimate, your gold will carry over. So, like, don't worry about that. If that's just a thing you want it to do, not something we're suggesting, just like giving you the option. John, what was your initial reaction to this news before we get onto the second part of it?
Okay. So I actually at work, I got this at work, and I had a couple of my coworkers run in. One sitting right next to me, another guy came running. He was like, "Did you hear what Xbox did?" I'm like, "No, what's going on?" And I went through it real fast, and I was reading it. And I was like, "Oh, Jesus, okay." What I found funny is that it doesn't say anything about a year subscription.
No, that was not a thing anymore. It was just 6
That
months.
that wasn't a thing. And I was like, I kind of took a quick pause and I was like, are we sure they're not going to pull well, if you want to go ahead and do like a year for like $89.99 or something like that? But they never said anything about it. And then my buddy, we were talking. I'm like, honestly, I don't even know how much I'm spending personally. I have no idea how much I'm spending on Xbox Live because I didn't know if I was still doing the 12-month plan. I know I switched over to Ultimate. I didn't know how everything laid out. So I jumped on my Xbox plan real fast and I was like, oh, I'm paying for Xbox Ultimate and it's $15 a month. And that's kind of where I was like, that's the push that they're going for. What's easier to swallow? Is it $130 a month or is it $15 a month, which after a year is $180 a month? And I was like, all right, I see what you're doing, Xbox. A little scummy, little under table kind of what hurts less kind of idea. But I thought it was really weird because let's be honest, Phil Spencer, Xbox has been like, we're for the gamers.
Mm-hmm.
We're the ones that are taking care of you guys. And then all of a sudden we're doubling down on how much it costs to play games.
Yeah.
Kind of sucks, actually.
Yeah, it was very clearly a move in favor of Game Pass. It's that dumb marketing thing where it's like you walk into a movie theater and like the medium-sized popcorn is like $1.25 and the large popcorn is $1.50. That's way too cheap for popcorn in a movie theater. Those things are ridiculous. I'm talking like $15. But it's that idea, right? It was like, well, if I'm gonna go medium, I might as well go large. And it's dumb just and large. It's stupid. If I'm already paying this much money, I might as well pay more. But it works. It's our dumb, stupid brains and the way they do
how it works. And like, and it's one of those things. You know, they make more money on that large because it's probably a little cheaper to actually manufacture that large popcorn. Kind of like this. It's $15 a month. Like I'm guilty of it. I didn't even know I was paying for it. Like I knew I signed up, but that was like 2 years ago. I completely forgot, and I was like, oh, I get $15 a month taken out of my account. Mm-hmm. Cool. That's exactly what Xbox wants you to do. That's the dream, really. If you think about it, no one's remembering. You have millions of people signing up for this thing, and it's just they're rolling in the dough.
Yeah, it's like it's a smart move from them, right? Where this wasn't a smart move, but like the general idea behind like, okay, Xbox is going to have less users, right? So we're not selling as many consoles or as many like software units. And then we also have our stuff on PC, so that's even less of an incentive. The amount of users we have, we need to get as much money from them per user as possible to complete with the sheer population of PlayStation, right? Yeah. And so the idea of trying to get everyone on Game Pass, they have previously done it purely from a sense of like trying to attract them with value. Mm-hmm. Just like front-loading Game Pass with just a bunch of stuff. Still, that's their main strategy.
It's still great. Still great.
But this is just a little bit of a push. And again, like Daniel Ahmad, industry analyst on Twitter, who you should go follow because he's full of insights. He was like very smug when this got announced initially, because he was like, what I do is like I buy a bunch of vouchers at current pricing because I know they're going to eventually hike this price up. Yeah. So like I buy them all in advance, and you can do it up to like a certain year. I think like 2030 for Xbox you can buy up to. And so it works out more cost effective if you're going to be paying that anyway. But like he was all smug, and I was like, should I be doing that? Maybe I should be doing that.
Oh no, I do that for PlayStation Plus. Like every Black Friday, it's like half off, and I will buy a couple years worth of it just so like you hold on to them. You can stack them, I think 3 years, and then once that 3 years rolls out, or at least 1 year, you just keep on adding it on until the eventual hike up, because it's going to happen. We all know there's going to be a hike sooner or later. Xbox wanted it sooner. Didn't really play out that way.
Yeah. Then they updated this the next day after a huge amount of backlash. They updated their blog post. They said, "We messed up today and you're right to let us know. Connecting and playing with friends is a vital part of gaming, and we failed to meet the expectations of players who count on it every day. As a result, we have decided not to change the Xbox Live Gold pricing. We're turning this into a moment into an opportunity to bring Xbox Live more in line with how we see the player at the center of the experience. For free-to-play games, you will no longer need an Xbox Live Gold membership to play those games on Xbox. We are working hard to deliver this change as soon as possible in the coming months. If you're an Xbox Live Gold member already, you stay at the current price for renewal. New and existing members can continue to enjoy Xbox Live Gold at the same price they pay today. in the US, $9.99 for a month, $24.99 for 3 months, $39.99 for 6 months, and $60 for retail 12 months. So just back to the way it was with the addition of this free-to-play thing where it's like you don't need Xbox Live to play free-to-play games anymore.
Good move.
Yeah.
Weird move.
Uh-huh.
Good move. Weird move. Because I am a big fan. I am a big fan of companies falling on a sword going, shit, we screwed up. We're sorry. That's our fault. That's not what we should have done. We're not changing anything. Like Nintendo's done it with Metroid Prime 4, Xbox. It kind of weirdly, they did better than CDPR has. Let's be absolutely honest. We screwed up. We're sorry. We're not changing anything.
Immediately.
Immediately.
Yeah.
That's the thing. It's not like 4 months after the game released and finally we get a dev coming out and going, okay, it's our fault. We should have noticed it. It's, oh no, we messed up and we're very, very sorry. Don't worry about it. Let's pretend this ever happened. Oh, and you can have your free-to-play games too. You don't need Xbox Live.
Yeah. Potentially devil's advocate question. Do you think there's an unfair bias towards Xbox with this kind of stuff? Because you think about PlayStation, like just this year announced that their games are going to be $70 from now on. The next gen games, they're 70 instead of 60. Nintendo, mostly for their first party stuff, never go on sale. Never. Yep. Mario Kart 8 is $60.
Yeah.
Do you think like people are making like a big fuss out of nothing and like they're just taking advantage of Microsoft's strategy of like player first?
I mean, yes and no. I think if it was one of those things that Microsoft kind of like, hold on, that's actually a good question. I was going to say something. I'm like, no, that doesn't make any sense. I think I would say, yeah. Let's be honest. We know games cost millions upon millions of dollars to make, to produce, to put out, all that stuff. Marketing is a budget that we don't even know about. And I think this idea of that we are Microsoft, we are player focused, we are player first, and we want to do what we can to actually make it easy for you to play games. And that's what Microsoft wants to do. And I feel like Game Pass is the right move. And I feel like they're doing a good job on that one. And again, retracting this, it's one of those things like, you're right though. Like people jumped down their throats real fast. And then when they backed off, it almost was like, all right, it was a non-issue now and we can wipe our hands clean and keep on going. Like people complain about Nintendo's games being $60, first party games being $60. They will always be $60 minus the 1 or 2 times they're on sale for 3 hours.
Yeah.
And then we kind of complain about it, but we were just like, well, that's Nintendo's way. Let's not worry about it. And then there's a stink for the $70 games. I'm already used to it because I was like, they have to have it that way. But yeah, people are looking, the amount of crap Microsoft gets because they're not PlayStation, yet they're doing probably a good portion of the stuff correct and with players in mind. It's very odd that there is a weird like, oh yeah, we're gonna go and take advantage of them, or hey, you're player first, and because the doubling the price wasn't player first, we're gonna call you out on it. So it is a weird double-edged sword that's their position they took, and I don't know. It'll be interesting to see in the next like year or two if that position keeps them in a very odd corner when everyone else is like, oh, Sony and Nintendo, they just do their thing, and all right, we're paying $80 for a game now.
Beta in chat asks, which do you guys think is better of the two, Gold plus Game Pass or Plus and PlayStation Now? John, thoughts?
I'm still on Game Pass. Like, oh no. I like Gold. Gold because I can actually download the damn game. I know,
right?
Game PlayStation Pass, Plus. Oh, Game Pass. Yeah, I know. Yeah. And Plus and all that stuff on Sony, you can start downloading some of them.
Yeah.
But it's not everything. And that's something like we're still not in that point of good streaming, not architecture, but infrastructure to do that. So I still think Xbox has the better online system. I think their servers are a lot more stable. And I think you get a better bang for the buck when it comes to Game Pass. And I'll just say Xbox Ultimate and all that stuff. I think Sony still has... Sony did right by knocking down the price of PlayStation Now, at least, to $10, but I still don't think they're that well prepared because they kept on, through the last couple of years, they kept on like knocking off one of the consoles, because I know at a time we stopped getting Vita games, which, okay, it's dead. It's fine, but it still kind of sucks.
There were no more Vita games to give.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we're done with Vita games. Yeah. We stopped getting PlayStation 3 games, which I understand. So,
but they are doing VR stuff now, which
they
I
are doing
appreciate.
VR stuff
instead of the
Vita. Yes, that I freaking love. But it's like, it's really weird watching both of them, because you're like, all right, PlayStation really wants you to move forward and really wants you to go to the PlayStation 5 in a year and a half or 2 years when you can find it regularly. While Xbox is still, here's games, go nuts. And I'm very interested to see how that plays out in the next 2 years. It's
definitely a debate that I haven't heard in a long time. This feels like such a relic of the PS4, Xbox One launch, this like online service battles.
Yep.
Where like back then it was all about like the actual infrastructure, because PSN was free of charge. You could pay for PS Plus, but that was purely for the games. You could play online anyway, and so like you had PlayStation users shouting it's free, and you had Xbox Live people saying like it sucks though, like it never works. It's down for all the time. That's not really a thing anymore, like because they both cost money, and I feel like any difference between like the online services are negligible. I do see a lot more headlines still about PS and going down sometimes, but not as frequent.
No.
But it does, like, I've been watching, so the Easy Allies have been doing a series of podcasts called The Gen That Was, where they go through the previous generation, the PS4, Xbox One generation, and just going through like the headlines of the year. And it was crazy to think about like that press conference where they announced that the PS4 doesn't require like online check-ins, and also that it was cheaper than the Xbox One. They also snuck in there like, hey, you gotta have PS Plus to play online now, but nobody cared because they were killing Xbox at the time, and so they were able to sneak that in really easily. I feel like Xbox could have snuck this announcement if the price hike wasn't so egregious, right? Literally doubling the pricing for a year, that is insanity. But like now they've lost their chance, right? Because in my mind, they can't try to increase this price for at least another year, right?
Yeah.
But if they increase it, like if the year was like, as you said, $80 instead of $120, I feel like they could have got away with that easily, and just like these marginal price hikes.
Exactly. That would have been fine, because then we're still talking about the idea of, all right, we're pushing those people who are used to paying the $60 at 12 months. We're pushing it to 80. It's a small price hike. And then you can actually backfill the idea of like, well, I mean, it was 60 now, but you're only getting 6 months. Go ahead and pay the extra $20. You're getting an extra 6 months. That's an easier pill to swallow. And then gradually increase it if you want, but still have your tone of go to Game Pass Ultimate, because you can play it on PC, you can play it on Xbox. And Roy was in chat saying the same thing. Like, we both have PlayStation Plus. I'm the only one that has Game Pass, but we have it under that family plan that Rose can play online as well.
Yeah.
Or jump on the Xbox and download stuff from Game Pass.
Game Pass versus like... Game Pass, I think, is a whole different discussion. It's a whole another layer on top of this, and it's just like tangentially related. It's the purpose they tried to increase the price, but like trying to like... So... Obviously, like PC gamers are like smug because it's like, hey, you have to pay for it.
We don't pay shit. So,
and like you can get Game Pass just for PC, and like you don't have to pay. It's like $10 a month. I use that because I don't have an Xbox. It's great. But like, I also remember like again back in like the early to mid PS4, Xbox One era, there was always like the monthly articles like, here's what Xbox Live Gold and here's what PS Plus have this month. Battle it out. Who is the better one? And that would be the Twitter argument for that month. And I feel like you see that less now. Xbox Live Gold doesn't seem to matter as much because of like how good value Game Pass is. So they're not really that focused on it. PS Plus seem to be doing this thing, which I really love, where it's like, you're not going to get day and date God of War or any first party title on either PS Now or on PlayStation Plus. But what you do get is these third-party games like that
Worms.
make use of the multiplayer. You get, well, Worms is one. What I was mainly pointing to was like Fall Guys, Rocket League, Destruction All Stars in February this year, and like I feel like that is a really good way to go about it. And also, like, they can't do all Game Pass because of how their business operates and how much value they place and how much money they pump into these first party titles selling. But the PS Plus collection right now at this moment, really good value.
Oh, like, yeah, that's great value. I love that we have that. That is fantastic.
So many games. So yeah, it's hard to compare the two. I still think Game Pass is the best deal in gaming and should be taken out of this discussion. But it's hard to deny that was the entire purpose they're trying to raise gold. Is like, just come on, just get Game Pass. I agree. Everyone get Game Pass. Like if
get it.
Yeah, it's just so good. Anyway, but yeah, do you think? First of all, do you agree with me that like they'll not try and hike the price up for a while?
Yeah, I think they're going to back off on this one. I don't even see them trying to do it within a year. I think we're 2 years out from them trying again. If anything, I can see them actually bumping up the price a little bit to Game Pass.
Mm-hmm.
I think that would be an easier pill to swallow because, like, hey, you know what? We're going to bump it up $1 or $2 or something like that. You're still going to get 230 games. You're like, okay, that marginal, you understand, you can keep on going with it. But yeah, I don't see them touching gold for any time soon.
On the other side then, do you think either PlayStation or Nintendo will try and increase their prices? Obviously, they'll do it in a different manner, but do you think?
I will lose my shit if Nintendo tries to actually up their price. I'm going to be absolutely honest on this one. I pay for the family plan because Rose and I, my sister's boyfriend, but okay, you went away, Nintendo, you went away from the digital consoles. I can't even remember what they were called at the time for the
Virtual
Wii and the
consoles,
Wii U. Virtual console, thank you. And you're giving us this weird hybrid concept of that they're there, we can play them, but we have to pay for it. Cool. Your app sucks. Your online infrastructure sucks. And I'm a Nintendo fanboy, and I'm saying this. Yeah. So I swear they better not, like, I almost like it's good for $20, $35. That's fine for a year. That is fine. But unless you give us some value to that, do not hike that crap up.
But you get Tetris 99 though. No.
Cool.
Yeah. Nintendo was the one for me where it's like recently I got kind of like not angry but like salty about it because I was riding high on that Twitch benefit thing where like they gave you 6 months of Nintendo subscription and that like just ran out and I was like, oh, I have to pay for this again. Like, I like playing Smash Bros. Like that's the only, if it wasn't for Smash Bros, I'd get rid of it. That's the only reason I have it right now. I assume for Rose it has to be Animal Crossing. But yeah.
And what's weird is I like it because I get to play NES and SNES games. Like I'm still waiting for them to drop N64 games now.
Well, that's the thing.
It's been long enough.
We talk about like sneaking these like bad news in with the good news. Do you think, hey, N64 come with the Switch Online members, but extra $1 a month?
That's fine. I would actually be okay with that one. It can't be the all right. We're gonna up it by $5. Thanks. Like no. You have to give us something, Nintendo. Everyone is crying right now for N64, hell, Game Boy or anything like that, or GBA. Give us something. Like we're kind of waiting on pens and needles.
Just real quick on the N64 thing, right? Do you think that they're gonna do it? Because in my head, I can see, all right, the Mario thing happened, Mario 64 you got. Ocarina of Time remastered, like port, I guess. You'll get that this year because it's Zelda's anniversary, right? Yeah. So you'll get Ocarina of Time Majora's Mask bundle or whatever. What if they just do that and like those are the two main reasons to like get on the N64 bandwagon gone?
See, that's the weird part. Like I'm
Nintendo can't decide. They don't know if they want to have these like virtual console spaces or whether they want to just keep selling them.
Like, what are we supposed to do with this? Like, all right, you gave us Mario 64. We're probably going to get something related to Ocarina of Time. I don't know. I'm still very iffy we're going to get that. I still think this year is going to be like Skyward Sword, Wind Waker, and something else. Like, I am very hesitant to think that we're going to get a Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask like bundle, because there's no precedence when it comes to that, when it comes to like to Zelda and Link. Mario, we had Mario All-Stars, so the precedence was there for 3D All-Stars. I'm still kind of pissed off that we don't have Galaxy 2. I think Galaxy 2 is better, but what do I know? There's no precedence for it to drop a like bundle of Zelda games. Like, I would not be shocked if they gave us 3 or 4 games and we have to pay full price for all of them. It's Nintendo's way.
Yeah. It's the way they do things. Chat asks, side note, I reckon PS Plus might drop some heavy hitters for their free games this month to try and capitalize on some of the angry Xbox energy. So as far as I know, the next drop is for February, which they will be doing Destruction All-Stars, which I think they're hoping is going to be a heavy hitter on its own. So I don't think they're going to like poison the well, because if you have these 2 big PS5 games, then you're going to like split the audience. I think they want as many people as possible on Destruction All-Stars, the same way they had like everyone jump on Fall Guys.
Fall Guys, Rocket League, and all that. Like, Rocket League was free. Like, I remember they were talking about it. Like, that was a giant gamble for the developers to let that be free, and it worked out for them. So I think they're trying to, it's great. I think they're trying to find that magic, that lightning in a bottle again. Fall Guys is there. I'm kind of sad it's kind of fallen off just a little bit, but not much. But yeah, I think they're hoping that Destruction All-Stars does the same concept.
Do you think it will? Do you think that this will like benefit from the PS Plus effect, or is it just going to like...
I think it's going to fizzle more than Fall Guys has. Like, watching the trailers and taking a look at it, it looks fun, but I'm still not 100% sure what the game is. Is it like Rocket League with people? Is it soccer? Like, I'm still a little iffy on the whole concept of that game.
Yeah, it looks like if Twisted Metal and Rocket League had a baby.
Yeah, because I think I just registered yesterday that you can jump into a car in that game. So I'm like, it's
that concept sounds rad. Twisted Metal.
Oh yeah, it sounds like badass.
I just didn't get the energy from that trailer, but like, whatever.
Oh, I'll definitely pick it up. I mean, again, it's free. Why wouldn't you pick them up? But I would be impressed. I'm sure we're going to see a good surge for a couple weeks, maybe even a couple months, but I don't see it having lasting power. And I will eat crow if I'm wrong.
We'll see. We might try and stream that game if it like turns out to be good. Cool, I want to see if we can all jump on that for a night and just test it out. But anyway, moving on from the online subscription discussion, we are moving on now to talk about Blizzard absorbing Vicarious Visions to work solely on Blizzard projects. I am quoting here from the Jason Schreier at Bloomberg article. This story was originally reported by GamesIndustry.biz. But yes, video game publisher Activision Blizzard Inc. took another step in consolidating control over division Blizzard Entertainment, which once took pride in its autonomy by shifting a 200-person design studio to its ranks. Vicarious Vision has been working with Blizzard since last year on the Diablo franchise, including a planned remake of Diablo 2. People familiar with the plans are said. Until last year, the Diablo 2 remake was set to be developed by Blizzard's Team 1, part of the company's Irvine, California campus that had become known for reworking classic games. Its most recent release in January 2020 was the remake of Warcraft 3 Reforged. Ouch. Members of Team 1 met to discuss what had gone wrong. Internal Blizzard documents reviewed by Bloomberg pinpointed the game's failures on poor planning, miscommunication, and a rushed release due to financial pressure from management, among other factors. For example, Blizzard announced in November 2018 and began taking pre-orders in 2019 without informing the most of the development team beforehand, according to several people who worked on the Warcraft 3 Reforged game. Team 1 wanted to avoid repeating the mistakes of Warcraft 3 on its next project, the remake of Diablo 2. Shortly after the post-mortem, however, Blizzard pulled the project from the team and put the division behind Diablo 4 in charge. A group at Vicarious Visions is also working on the remake, which was known as Diablo 2 Resurrected. This story hurts a lot.
Okay, so I'm going to first say this.
Mm-hmm.
I absolutely love Jason Schreier working for Bloomberg, because I there's this weird gravitas to that now.
Yeah.
When he like puts something out, like, it's Jason Schreier, he has his own gravitas, but now it's Jason Schreier from Bloomberg, and you're like, everyone shut up and listen.
Yeah.
Be honest with me. Did you know Vicarious Visions was like connected to Blizzard in this way?
Well, they're Activision. And Activision Blizzard is the same thing. And
Activision Blizzard, yeah.
I like the way Jason is writing this from the perspective that, like, Blizzard as this separate identity from Activision is being chipped away, just bit by bit until, like, they're now just the same thing. You can't say, like, Overwatch 2 and Warcraft and StarCraft, A-okay, Call of Duty bad, because they're the same thing, right? Most of the games are in the same launcher now, even. So, like, you can't separate these two. They're the same entity. What hurt me the most through this story is not that Blizzard's identity is being taken away, it's that Vicarious Visions is.
Vicarious Visions, yeah.
Super
and that one sucks. I know specifically for you for Crash, but I just don't want development companies to go away in that sense. Like, if they were like, all right, Vicarious Visions, you're now going to be kind of do this, and we'll give you the room to do something new, and then come back and kind of do the pendulum swing back and forth, that'd be fine. But this blows. I'm not gonna lie to you. This sucks.
Yeah. And, like, it's not most people will be familiar with the name Vicarious Visions from the Crash remakes and the Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 and 2 remakes from the past few years. They haven't always been a studio that works on its own games or works on remakes in this way. Like, most of their work for the past decade has been development support, right? They do support on Call of Duty. They did support with Destiny a while back. As I say, like, sometimes they helped out, like, Blizzard in other ways. This is, like, now a full absorption where Vicarious Visions as a primary developer now no longer a thing. But it just hurts so much. Like, those two remakes that I mentioned just did so well, right? Crash sold way better than expected, reviewed way better than expected. Same with Tony Hawk Pro Skater, and the reward is this. And it's like Activision still do have Beanox, who did CTR Remastered, and Toys for Bob, who did Spyro and Crash 4 to, like, remake these beloved IPs that they have. But, man, just I was expecting Vicarious Visions to go on and work on their, like, a new IP or whatever now. And now they're just doing this. Like, come on.
It's sad because they proved themselves, and that's what sucks.
Yeah.
They so proved themselves with the Crash remakes and Tony Hawk 1 and 2, like, to rave reviews. I admit it. Rave reviews with love and care, and that's something that you want to hear from a company that does remakes. Like, I could have seen them be the next Blue Point. Like, and like, all right, so Blue Point's working on this. We got Vicarious Visions. They're partnering up with insert name, and they're remaking this. All right, good hands. Let's go. That's fine.
Yeah. Just really sucks. But again, like, how do you feel about the general, like, blurring of lines between Activision and Blizzard as entities? Are you, like, do you have any love for Blizzard at all, or do you, like, not care?
Okay, I actually I love playing Overwatch. I'll be honest, I haven't played in a while, but I think it's a great game. I don't have too much love. I do remember back in the day when I was still in, like, high school, I'd play StarCraft and Warcraft with my friends. I'd go over their house and we do actual LAN parties. So it's a nostalgia thing for me. Activision hits and misses. If I'm going to say anything, I'm very ooged out that FromSoft connected with the Activision to publish the game. But from a business standpoint, I get it. But I don't like this blurring of lines. Minus Overwatch, we know is Blizzard. Call of Duty, we know is Activision, even though they are the same entity. Yeah, it's getting weird, and I'm wondering if we're gonna get to a point when it's Active Blizzard. They just stop with both names and just merge into one mega company, and it's like, we are now Active Blizzard, and you're like, oh, that's weird.
Yeah, really. Just I wonder if this is going to happen again. Like, if like Vicarious Visions do, like, really well, and then they're just, like, completely merged into Blizzard at that point. Well, we still need to do remakes. We still need to do World of Warcraft remake. Like, let's get Toys for Bob in here now. Like, let's do that.
See, and that's what I'm wondering. What if? And I'm just throwing this idea out there. What if this is a long term concept, getting in good faith with people? All right. So instead of it being Vicarious Visions, we've absorbed them, and they're going to be working on Diablo 2, Reforged or Resurrected, or they actually go ahead and go about that, and it's Blizzard. It's Blizzard's name that through the team of Vicarious Visions have made a good remake, a good remake. And it's kind of one of those, it chips away at the block that is the weird name that is Blizzard and Activision, where it's getting to the point where it's up there with EA in the stink of the name.
Yeah. There's still so many, like, I think after the Crash remakes, everyone was like wondering what Vicarious Visions would do next. And then like the Tony Hawk Pro Skater was like, yeah, that's so great. Do 3. Yep. What? You're not doing 3? Okay.
What are you doing? Oh, you're not here anymore?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like we still need those Guitar Hero remakes. Like, I'm trying to think of Activision's like IPs that they still have things on. Do you think a Guitar Hero remake would make sense? Is that not an option?
No, not anymore. Because now, especially now that we have to factor in streaming and putting games on YouTube and Twitch.
What if, and this feels like they missed the boat on this, or maybe they tried it and I just didn't hear about it, but it would be hilarious if they did. What if you no longer have to buy the stupid plastic guitar, but you use a Kinect style or the PlayStation camera and you air guitar it? Did they try that ever? I feel like they might have tried that.
I don't know. I would be down with that because that's just more comedy and funnier things to watch people actually air guitar.
Yeah.
And just, I would be down with that.
I'm pretty sure the way it currently works with Guitar Hero, and I think it's called Guitar Hero World or something, is that,
World
like,
Tour.
World Tour is the PS3 game. That was like my jam. Guitar Hero World or Guitar Hero something is this fairly new thing. But I think like you plug in a real guitar and that somehow works. Mm-hmm. Or maybe I'm an idiot. Chat, correct me. I don't know what Guitar Hero.
I know that they made a new Guitar Hero and it had like 2 or 3 rows of frets on it.
Maybe it was
so
that.
I do know what you're talking about on that one. And I obviously like if it's on the game, they have the rights to use the song. I just don't know where that rights end on playing the game by yourself and then playing it on stream. That's where it gets a little hairy.
So moving on to
Rocksmith. Yep. Beta's right in chat. Rocksmith.
Rocksmith's what I'm thinking of. Yeah. Moving on to our next story then. We didn't get to talk about this last week, and I feel like we should touch on it because it's a kind of a huge deal. Lucasfilm Games was announced. In their official announcement, they said Lucasfilm Games is now the official identity for all gaming titles from Lucasfilm, a name that encompasses the company's rich catalogue of video games and its eye towards the future. They had a little sizzle reel of Star Wars games EA have made in the past while. And then the internet started speculating, like, what could that mean? What does this mean for EA and Star Wars license? They shut that up the next day because Bethesda and Machine Games announced they were working on an Indiana Jones game. Same day, Ubisoft Massive announced it is working on a new open world Star Wars game. EA not confirmed yet that they're not renewing the Star Wars deal in 2023, but you could hazard a guess that if Ubisoft's working on this new Star Wars game, probably not happening. Crazy, also really, really great for both sides of the coin, I think. I think this is good for EA. I think they've stated their intention to continue making Star Wars games, but from what I understand, this was a long-term arrangement that the current owners and executives of EA did not want and just sort of inherited. And like, in 8 years of a deal, they released 4 Star Wars games, right?
Yeah.
Many of which were not received favorably, right? Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, Squadrons was okay, and then Battlefront 2 got better over time. But yeah, it's clearly they didn't know what they were doing with that. And so people have always had this idea where it's like, yeah, just like Lucasfilm should do their own thing and like license out to developers as they see fit. How excited are you about these potential
I love
deals?
this. I love this mainly because, minus, like you said, Fallen Order and Squadrons, as much as FPSs are fun, there is a wealth of good IPs within Lucasfilms. And yeah, we're all excited about Star Wars, but I think an Indiana Jones game by Machine Games is going to be bonkers. I'm in for it. And I'm going to say this, one, because I actually really, really loved watching it. Two, I'm always on point to win points with my wife. Give us more Monkey Island.
Right.
Go open up your doors, Lucasfilms Games, which I don't like that title. I don't like that, I'll be honest.
Well, here's the thing, John.
Games.
I don't mean to like purely upset Rose with this, right? But I feel like calling them Lucasfilm Games is an attempt to separate them from the legacy of LucasArts, right? And Lucasfilm Games purely being about the movies being games now. Because Disney,
you know what, actually, I follow that logic.
Yeah, and Disney are in this weird space where they're constantly doing the hokey pokey. They can't decide whether they want in games or not. And like, they do this every few years. They're like, yeah, let's do some games. Let's do like Epic Mickey. Let's license a bunch of these Star Wars stuff out, or Indiana Jones. Let's not. We're putting out games aren't for us, guys. We're gonna make EA handle it. But now we're back in though, and like they can't decide. I'm still not sure if this is like a statement of intent for all of Disney, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, you've got Marvel's Spider-Man, but that feels like a special case. And Marvel's like Square Enix. Are you going to get more Marvel games? Are you going to get some Mickey games? Are you like, what's happening?
Yeah, it's weird. I that it actually did split out. That it is Lucasfilm Games, and the fact that that does make sense. Like, oh, we're going to focus all on our movies and make them into games. I actually weirdly follow that, which would make me upset and sad because, again, there is so much that LucasArts has. The Lucas IP well is just full of everything. And I think we keep on forgetting that it's more than just Star Wars and Indiana Jones. Like, we could open up new IPs to kids who don't know about Monkey Island or anything like that. And it just that idea that we might not get it mainly because they need to connect it to Star Wars, which I know is $1 billion IP. Indiana Jones, if you count 1, 2, and 3, is a really, really solid IP. If you count 4, we are no longer friends because that is an awful movie. But it seems like they would be shooting themselves in the foot if they really focused on that one. And I don't know. Well, and I can't say anything about that because Disney's been so wishy-washy. So, like you said, let's try this game. Oh, yeah, games are not for us. I want to say, was it last year or 2 years ago when Disney was talking about their relationship with EA, and they're like, oh, yeah, EA's doing a great job. They're going to keep on going. And everyone was like, what the hell are you talking about? Are you playing this? Well, you probably don't play games. Let's be honest.
John, so. I genuinely think that's what's happened. I think Disney aren't keen to get back into games. I think this was a forced move because I think EA were like looking at the Star Wars deal, looking at what they've had, and they were like, nah, we're not renewing that. I think that was an EA move to not renew this thing. And Disney were like, what do we do now? Do we give it all to Ubisoft? Did we do that again? Like, I feel like they had to make this Lucasfilm Games entity for that purpose. I'm going to put a quick warning there, and I've like mentioned this type of thing a few times in previous weeks, where it's like, don't expect either the Indiana Jones game or the Star Wars game in like the next 5 years.
Oh no, I will be shocked if any of those games come out before 2025.
Yeah, this is another instance of like, these studios license these IPs, they have to announce it right away for stock prices, for marketing purposes, just for general hype, but do not expect anything more at like the next 3 or 4 E3s about any of these games.
And that's what sucks.
However, just before you say anything, I will say that I feel like if they were going to do a Monkey Island situation, that's a different thing entirely. Where if they right now have a studio working on a Monkey Island game, they could be a little bit more hush-hush about that until it's ready to go. So I feel like the possibility is there. I don't want to kill the dream entirely. Like, it could be out there being worked on. Yeah. But Beta just like reminded me there, like, the new version of Telltale Games, right? They could be working on a Monkey Island game.
True.
Yeah. The reformed Telltale that isn't really Telltale, but has the name Telltale, and several old Telltale employees. With an Indiana Jones game, John,
Mm-hmm.
Harrison Ford or new guy?
New guy.
You said that so quickly.
I'm sorry. I love Harrison Ford. I don't even think he likes to play Indiana Jones anymore, even though he's going to be in number 5. And I guarantee you he's going to do exactly what he did in Force Awakens. I'll be in your damn movie, but you are going to kill me.
Yeah.
And we're going to pass it off to a mantle to someone else. But no, I think it'd make more sense to kind of like how we were talking about with the James Bond game coming out in 2030 or whenever. I think you don't use like Daniel Craig like you wouldn't use Harrison Ford. You just kind of give us random generic person and let it go from there. Suave generic person or rugged generic person, but just go from there. I don't think you, one, can afford, two, should you license Harrison Ford's likeness or his voice.
Right. Unnecessary. And I feel like as a person who's grew up playing lots and lots of different licensed games and still loves them, I feel like we're in this weird golden era where we figured licensed games out. Where in previous years, as you mentioned, if you're making a James Bond game, you have to have the player play as Daniel Craig, and you have to get him to do the voice acting, and he doesn't care because it's a video game, and video games aren't respected. And so that, I feel like it's the same thing. Like in IO Interactive's Bond game, you're not going to get Craig or whoever the Bond is by that time. In Spider-Man, you're not getting, who is it? Tom Holland? That's it.
Yeah, Tom Holland.
Yeah, you don't have to play as Tom Holland. You can play as this like new Peter Parker. 2 different Peter Parkers in the same game between versions now. I feel like, in Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, you don't have to play as Mark Hamill playing Luke Skywalker, right? So I feel like this is going to be young Indy. It's going to be a different take on Indy. And it's going to be great. I genuinely think we're in a place where licensed games now are totally separate from movies. They're not expected to be to retell the stories that the movies tread. And I feel like, it's sort of like how you look at Witcher for Netflix and how well like licensed TV shows from games are handled, right? There's this point now where games are so ubiquitous that people are trying to understand like, we don't have to cash in. We can just make a good video game. Yeah. And
Beta, you're right. The Wii remake of GoldenEye was actually Daniel Craig in it. It was weird. That was weird.
That was a bag on air. Like, one of my favorite games, I have it over there on my shelf, James Bond Everything or Nothing for the PS2. That was Pierce Brosnan. That was my favorite Bond, game and actor-wise. But I just don't feel like you need to do that anymore.
Yeah, you don't need to do that. And in chat, I see it too. Raiders, if they didn't pick up that guy from Age of Adelon to play a young Han Solo, which would have been the smartest move Disney could have ever done, they're not going to do it for Indiana Jones. That guy was the spitting image of a young Harrison Ford. It was uncanny.
Right. And I feel like not having the sort of midway point that Square Enix Avengers did with likenesses, where they were sort of pushing up against it, but like obviously couldn't for
squint your eyes a little bit.
Yeah. But like they sort of went this halfway mark, and I feel like it hurt them a lot because like, are you MCU or not? But I think
it's also because it's too cultural zeitgeist. We're still in the MCU.
Yeah.
I think that was the problem. Like, Indiana Jones, we haven't had an Indiana Jones in, 12 years? 10 years? Something like that? Star Wars, you can do whatever you want with Star Wars.
Yeah.
The Mandalorian showed us that, so I'm not too worried about that one. The MCU, not MCU Avengers game, that's just too close. We're still in it, so they were doomed to start if they couldn't get the likeness.
John, quickly before we move on to this story, I don't know if I was just riding the hype of this Lucasfilm series of announcements, but when the Muppets tweeted out that they were going to have the big surprise, I was sure we were getting a Muppets video again. I was locking that in. Later turned out to be just the Muppet Show coming to Disney Plus, which is great because, how did they do that? Yeah. But when are we getting a Muppets video game? When are we getting an Epic Mickey 3 or whatever?
See, that's what I'm wondering. Like Epic Mickey 3, that should come because there's a lot of love for Epic Mickey. Trust me, I know. And but I think it'd be really cool and weird to actually do like another Sesame Street game. Like I might not know about it since I'm older, but I feel like we need a little more like kid friendly games on consoles and stuff like
but
that.
Not
so
like stupid games.
No, not stupid games. Like,
Yeah.
actually teach them, but like Grover's Big Adventure or some crap like that on the NES. Let's get a remake of that. Why the hell not? What are we going to lose? You're Disney. Someone, you put your name on it. People are going to buy it.
I feel like comparing Disney and Sega are like apples and oranges, right? You can't. But like, it's just for an example, like in Team Sonic Racing, the cutscenes are, or like even a more like appropriate thing, the Hotel Transylvania games, right? An example of like a relic of a licensed game that was like they used to do all the time. The cutscenes in that game are entirely delivered through like JPEGs and still frames. And like, I feel like, why you gotta treat kids that stupid?
Exactly.
why can't you just make a game? Why do you think you're able to just like get by with this? It makes me so mad because I was that kid. I was that dumb kid who played Flushed Away and loved it, and it was like just still frames from the movie. Like, it's just nonsense.
No, I'm with you. Like, what?
Yeah, so mad. Now we'll move on to some other news stories throughout the week that we'll quickly touch on. Game News says Valve has more games in development. This is via New Zealand's One News. He says, we definitely have games in development that we're going to be announcing. It's fun to ship games, he said. Alex was great. To be back doing single-player games that created a lot of momentum inside of the companies to do more of that. John, percentage scale on how much you believe him. Maybe not on the development part. Do you think Valve are releasing another game in the next 5 years?
Yeah, I'll actually jump on that one. Yes, I do believe Valve will release another game in the next 5 years. Half-Life Alyx was just a underdog that no one thought would actually do as well as it did last year, and it did great. Still need to get a VR headset to actually play it. Artifact sucked balls. I tried it. I couldn't get into it, and then that's why no one plays it anymore anyway. I'm trying to think of what they would do. Like, if they're going first person, or if they're going single player, that kind of game, I'm like, what are you going to do? And are you going to lean in on the VR because Half-Life Alyx did so well? Or are you going to give us... Well, no, you can't count to 3, so it won't be that. So I'm assuming it's probably going to be a new IP. Or Half-Life Alyx 2. Because that's precedence. And then we'll never get a Half-Life Alyx 3. Actually, no. I know what it's going to be called. It's going to be called Whole Life Alyx. That's 2.
Are you dead set on, like, Valve's next game, if they release it, being a VR game? Because I feel like while Alyx was great, underperformed in terms of sales and, like, hype. Because not enough people have VR headsets. Do you think now that, like, they're finally, like, we released a game, we're going to release another one? Let's do VR again? Because... I mean,
Valve is probably one of the hardest developers to pinpoint now.
Yeah.
Like, it's one of those things, like, I don't know, actually. I can see them doing it because, they're Valve. But a part of me is like, I'm with you. Like, they want to see the sales, but Steam makes so much damn money that I don't think they really care. They're at the, let's just write blank checks and not care what we do. They're at the Marvel Disney state. Just do something. So I would not be shocked if it was another VR game. Hell, I wouldn't be shocked if it was a holodeck game. That's right. I threw it back to the Star Wars reference from earlier in the podcast.
Yeah. It's a little bit annoying for me to hear Gabe Newell like pat himself on the back like we made a game when, quite frankly, if I could put it out there, they didn't. Because what they did was they purchased the guys that made Firewatch, cancelled their new game in the Valley of the Gods, and got them to make Half-Life Alyx. Mm-hmm. You can't just do that and say, like, look, we made it. Like, no, you just threw money at the wall until someone else did. Come on. Give me Portal 3. Just give me it. And don't make it be VR. I know you've tried it. I know it doesn't work. I'm not a guy who experienced motion sickness, but I'll get motion sick if it's Portal 3 VR. Just give me just normal Portal 3.
Just give us Portal 3. That's fine.
You can do that.
I'm down with that.
You have the power.
I see, again, they're going to give us something. What it's going to be, hell if I know.
Do you think In the Valley of the Gods is dead? Do you think?
Oh yeah, 100%. Which makes me sad. That freaking game looks great. Watching that trailer, I was actually very high on that game, especially because Firewatch and Santos. I can't remember the actual developer's name. I know it was Santos.
Campo Santos.
Campo Santos. Thank you. Everyone loved Firewatch, and I was really, really excited for In the Valley of the Gods. It's dead. RIP.
Right. Resident Evil 4 Remake development overhauled. We talked about, Blizzard putting different studios on a remake after a bad remake. This comes via VGC, all rumours and speculation, but they're reporting it. New studio M2 has seen its role significantly reduced on the unannounced project, the sources told VGC, and mainline Resident Evil studio Capcom Division 1 has been brought in to lead a new direction. It is believed that the disagreement that led to M2's reduced role involved the studio's desire to stick faithfully to the template of the original Resident Evil 4, partly influenced by backlash to Resident Evil 3's remake, which did not include significant portions of the PlayStation game, much to fans' disappointment. Capcom's production team, however, is said to prefer a direction where you see Resident Evil 4 remake inspired by the original, but with its own unique take on features, story elements, and environments, not necessarily confined to the blueprint of the original, similar to Resident Evil 2's use of Mr. X. Resident Evil 4 is a game that I know is beloved, but I haven't played because I don't like spooky games. But I know this game's really, really good. I'd be eager to know. Like, I wish I had Tim on the show, or like I know Beta's a Resident Evil fan, so he maybe tell me in chat. Do we want them to stick to the format of Resident Evil 4, or do we like what the Capcom higher ups are saying, where it's like, yeah, we kind of want some of that, but like, nah, we'll make a new game. Because I feel like taking the formula of Resident Evil 4, but like going to town with it is what Village is going to be, right?
Yeah.
That's the sort of word I'm getting, at least. It's hard. Do you have any love for...
So, every time I talk, like, I'll be honest, I have not played a Resident Evil game. I played a little bit of 7. I've actually bought 2 and 3 remakes. I want to get to know this franchise a lot better.
Mm-hmm.
Anytime I've ever mentioned Resident Evil, it is, have you played 4? 4 is one of the greatest games ever played. And I'm like, you're the 200th person who's ever told me that.
Yeah.
I'm going to believe it now.
Uh-huh.
And I kind of understand Capcom being a little hesitant on this one, mainly because 2 was great. 2 remake was great. 3, like they reported, was just a little... it was missing something. And so I see them like, all right, we got to figure out how to do this right, or we are screwed. Because Capcom's been doing a really, really good job at building themselves back up, like getting them to that point again where it's just like, it's Capcom, it's Resident Evil, and I think 8's going to do really well with that, where it's like, hey, Capcom's doing great. But yeah, if they screw up 4, I'm sure it's going to be a lot worse than Cyberpunk. I'll say it right now.
Oh. Yeah, because like Cyberpunk, you can just like put it to the wayside, but Resident Evil 4, if you mess that up, it's... Because they're on this track right now, sort of like stunted with Resident Evil 3, but like Resident Evil 2 might sort of replace Resident Evil 2 for a lot of people. It's like, if you're going to play one of them, just play the remake. And so I think they kind of want 4 to be that. At least M2 did. But clearly this production team feels differently about it. John, have you played the very quick Resident Evil Village demo yet?
I haven't, actually. I'm planning on playing it tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm going to play it too. Just like, I know it's really quick, but like I want to see how it looks. Like we stand demos here at Playhouse. Are you familiar with the internet latching on to this female character? Just like,
I am.
Yeah.
What's really, really funny, because Rose and I were talking about it yesterday and just trying to figure out, honestly, what we're going to play over on Couch Capades. And we've decided that we're going to do Resident Evil 7. Again, I've only played like 80% of that game. And I don't remember a damn bit of it. But yeah, as I was going through, just kind of getting an idea of just what's going on with the walking demo. Jesus, the amount of colorful comments by our tall 9-foot vampire lady.
I don't feel like I've seen this much fervor from the internet since Bowsette. That's
I was actually about to say the same thing. Yeah, it is Bowsette 2.0, but there's like 5 of them.
Yeah.
And you're like, how? I love the one. I love the comment to Capcom going, I have no idea how I'm supposed to be afraid of this when I am turned on. Like, what am I supposed to do, Capcom? And it is insane. And the colorful art that I've already seen is, oh boy.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
The Uncharted movie has been delayed to the 11th of February 2022.
Cool.
Yeah. All right, moving on. No,
I'm like, no, and it's really, it sucks. Theaters are not going to be open. I have no idea. Like, if it was the end of 2021, which I think No Time to Die, the Bond movie, is October of 2021, I think ambitious. That's still stretching it.
Yeah, ambitious.
Yeah.
But, like, is this movie real? Are they just, like, stringing us along until the Last of Us HBO series comes out? That's not what they're doing.
Do you know what? I would not be surprised if the Last of Us series comes out before this. But I really don't know. Like, I think it's real. I want to believe it's real. It's cool. It needed to get pushed back.
This is one I added in the last minute, John. So you probably haven't heard of it, but I remember reading this week that Tencent have acquired Klei Games, Klei Games, who are behind Don't Starve. First of all, did you ever play that game? Because I feel like
did.
Yeah, there was an era of gaming where like that was just an indie darling, and I feel like everyone at least dipped their toe in. I feel like it was shortly after the Minecraft boom. It was that sort of survival.
I think it was that. Oh, do you want a Minecraft style game? Yeah. That's kind of there. Yeah, I think I put a couple hours into it. Not my Jimmy Jams, but I was like, oh yeah, I get why people like it.
Yeah. They insist, Klei Entertainment, that they retain full autonomy, despite the Tencent acquisition, which honestly doesn't shock me. Because, like, people are always worried about Tencent, and, like, fair dues, because they're buying a little bit of everybody. But, like, I feel like they're a company that just makes money. They look at things that are already making money, and they just, like, give them more money to make more money. But I don't feel like they have any... It's hard to say, but, like, they haven't shown any indication that they have any agenda to, like, influence games or development practices. So yeah, they're just in a little bit of everyone right now. So what was interesting to me, John, as well, is that Tencent are reportedly raising huge amounts of money at the minute for an acquisition, and people thought when this story broke that this was the acquisition, and they've said it's not. So, like,
interesting.
They're getting ready for a big pickup. I wonder. Yeah. It could be anyone. They have more money than God. Like, it could literally be. It could be us. They could buy us.
You know what? That's fine. We can get more money thrown at us, raise the production value. I'm good with that. That'd be fun.
Yeah.
But it's kind of one of those things. Like, oh, you're hearing someone raise so much money. You're like, all right, who's it going to be? Something small? Like, okay, that makes sense. Or are you going to buy Disney? It's got to be something huge to, like, literally move mountains. Klei, good for them. I hope they get to keep the autonomy, which you're right. Tencent really doesn't F with things.
Yeah.
Thank you for making money. Now make us money while we give you more money.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. That's kind of how Tencent has been mostly.
Yeah. So that's all the stories for this week. That has been your episode of Playhouse Live. If you're sticking with us on our Twitch channel right now, please sure to stay with us, because we'll be doing our regular post-show Q&A immediately after I close out the show for the YouTube version. If you're watching this on the YouTube version or on podcast services, because this is a podcast form as well, you can join us live to see us recording this every Saturday, usually on twitch.tv/playhouselive. And come hang out with us and be part of the chat and, like, butt in on things and tell us we're being stupid, which we are a lot. If you want to keep up with everything Playhouse, you can go to entertheplayhouse.com. You can follow us at enterplayhouse on Twitter. You can go to our YouTube channel, which we don't have the / yet, but we're going to get it at some point. We just need them subscribers. So if you want us to be able to plug that easily, go subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can find the link on our various social media channels. But yeah, until next week then, that's been your episode of Playhouse Live. And yeah, we will see you then.